A man had just glanced at the girl in the crowd once, yet instantly decided that he must conduct a test on her. But she fiercely refused, determined to protect her dignity. Left with no choice, he tied her up and even dragged in a clueless bystander who happened to be nearby. To conceal his dragon phoenix sword, Eliunian deliberately disguised it as a cheap knockoff called the Dry Ginger Wild Blade. With it, he stormed through beasts and monsters, leveling up with ease as if slicing vegetables. Just then, the 25th ranked Mianshi Blaze Guild's flying cruiser soared overhead. Inside, the induction ceremony for new members was in full swing. The one giving the motivational speech was the guild leader, Lu. His relentless brainwashing worked like magic. The rookies were fired up, shouting in unison, ready to take the Blaze Guild to new heights. Stepping down from the stage, Lu paused beside a young nurse and quietly asked if she still wished to return and serve the powerful elites like a mere servant. Hearing her firm refusal, he let out a sinister grin and nodded in satisfaction. With that, the internal spiritual awakening session came to an end. Soon after, Lu raised his hand, signaling everyone to stay quiet. He pointed out of the window toward a distant mountain, announcing it as their official base. He promised that once they entered, every new recruit would receive 8 hours of free soaking in premium spirit springs, an exclusive benefit. The entire cruiser erupted. After all, soaking in spirit springs grants double experience points. However, before entering, everyone was asked to surrender their phones. According to Lu, only by cutting off distractions could they fully commit to power leveling. But what they didn't notice was that the moment he collected all the phones, Lu couldn't help but burst into laughter. Cut to the mountain base. Some bold recruits led the way enthusiastically. The timid ones hesitated, but after being reassured by senior members, followed inside. The moment they reached the central hall, Lu finally dropped the act, wearing a wicked smile. "Welcome," he announced, "to the interest-free human breeding farm." Instantly, a few sharp recruits sensed something was off, but by then, it was too late. Spatial vortices appeared behind Lu, revealing their true captor, Bone Overload, one of the elite subordinates of the infamous demoness Lady Whitebone. These captives were gifts for her. Lu had just one request. Before they were taken away, he and his brothers wanted to enjoy the female recruits. With Bone Overload's approval, a massive water current surged forth, sweeping up the nurse first. Even Hongyan, the undercover agent from the Great Merchant Guild, couldn't escape. Meanwhile, high above the skies of Shenzhen, Jiang Xue, the president of the Great Merchant Guild, was in hot pursuit, following Hongyan's tracking signal. She had deliberately planted undercover agents within the Blaze Guild to uncover the forces backing them. Coincidentally, Yu Neon, having just finished grinding monsters, was lounging on a tree branch. A beautiful silhouette streaked across the sky above him, instantly snapping him to attention. Is this some kind of quest trigger? Forget low-level monsters. Time to chase that. The gang leader stood on the sidelines, ordering his men to attack freely. But before they could land a strike, the young girl launched a devastating kick, sending them reeling. The leader of the Mianshi Guild watched helplessly as his men were beaten down. He had no choice but to push the injured nurse aside and step forward himself. With a single move, he unleashed a water tornado. The girl was instantly overwhelmed, her body gravely injured and left without the strength to fight back. Just as defeat seemed certain, a flurry of icy arrows shot through the air, sparking a glimmer of hope. The one who had arrived was none other than her guild leader, Jiang Xue. Seeing her appear, the Mianshi Guild leader showed no intention of facing her head-on. Instead, his gaze turned toward the Bone Overlord. With the slightest flick of his hand, the Bone Overlord sent shockwaves that blasted the wounded guild members aside in a single strike. Yet his attack was still not strong enough to harm Jiang Xue. Taking advantage of the moment, the Mianshi Guild leader charged straight at her. "You dare conspire with demons to harm your own people! For the right price, I'd even sell my own mother!" he shouted, hurling a water slash forward. But Jiang Xue calmly raised her sword to her chest. "Frozen prison!" she declared. A burst of chilling frost erupted, instantly freezing his arm solid. With one swift strike, she shattered the ice, leaving him defeated in a single blow. The Mianshi Guild leader collapsed, stripped of all fighting power. "The matter of the Mianshi Guild has already been reported to the authorities," Jiang Xue declared firmly. "I order you to release all players immediately. Do you understand?" But before she could continue, the aura around the Bone Overlord surged. A spectral sword emerged from his body, humming with deadly power. The Mianshi Guild leader, desperate, tried to plead with him, only to become the first victim impaled by the summoned blade. As their leader fell, the remaining members of the Mianshi Guild scattered in terror, but their lives lasted only seconds longer before the Bone Overlord cut them all down without mercy. Jiang Xue realized his strength was far beyond ordinary. She knew she had to strike with her ultimate technique, yet even when she split the Bone Overlord's head in two, his body regenerated, restoring itself completely. Moments later, his aura erupted again, trapping her within a cyclone of air. Relentless attacks rained down, and her stamina began to falter. At that critical moment, a sudden crimson light tore through the battlefield, severing the Bone Overlord's limbs in an instant. As his body began to regenerate once more, Jiang Xue's eyes widened, finally seeing who had arrived. The protagonist had entered at last. "Sorry to keep you waiting, beautiful. I'm late," he said with a confident smile. The newcomer was said to be the strongest solo player in the entire game. He had come alone to play the hero and save the damsel, only to be mocked by the very women he tried to help. The reason was simple. The monster before him wasn't an NPC. It was a real demon, one that had crossed over into reality. But Liu Nian, blessed with 12 lives, showed no fear. What unsettled him instead was the demonic aura radiating from one of the female teammates, leaving him momentarily distracted. At that moment, the Bone Overlord launched a sudden sneak attack. Snapping back to his senses, Liu Nian ordered Jiang Xue and the others to retreat while he drew his blade in a swift strike. Even when his skills connected, the Bone Overlord refused to stay down. As long as he retained even a shred of mana, he could endlessly resurrect and rebuild his body. Hearing Jiang Xue's hurried explanation by his side, Liu Nian quickly formed a plan. He would counter each move with a technique of his own, relying on his unique talent to unleash unlimited, cost-free attacks. What followed was a relentless, unbroken assault. To everyone's surprise, the results were immediate. The Bone Overlord's ability to regenerate faltered under the ceaseless blows. At one point, in the chaos of reforming, he mistakenly reattached his head to his waist. The ridiculous sight made even the onlookers burst into laughter. Seeing the strategy working, Liu Nian pressed harder, chaining infinite strikes one after another. At last, the Bone Overlord's mana ran dry, and he collapsed, slain on the battlefield. Jiang Xue finally recognized him. This was the very same lone player who had cleared the Valley of 10,000 Souls dungeon on his own. The thought of recruiting him to her guild instantly crossed her mind. His strength could raise them to a new level. Even the rescued nurse at her side couldn't hide the admiration in her eyes, stealing shy glances at Liu Nian. Yet Liu Nian didn't allow himself even a moment's relief. His sharpened senses, honed through countless trials, had picked up something unmistakable. The scent of demonic energy coming from one of the female guild members. Without hesitation, he struck at her to test the truth, but the move was blocked by the leader of the Great Merchant Guild. "Have you lost your mind? Why are you attacking one of our own?" he shouted. Vice Leader Hong Yan, Jiang Xue's trusted companion, immediately stepped forward in false weakness, twisting the story. She accused Liu Nian of attempting to assault her, claiming he had lashed out only after failing to succeed. Her words sparked an uproar, drawing sneers and scorn from the other female teammates. Jiang Xue, though uneasy, still chose to side with Hong Yan. Their sisterly bond left her unwilling to doubt her. Liu Nian, however, offered no defense. His eyes locked on Hong Yan with cold certainty. "A demon is a demon," he declared. "Since you insist on framing me, then I'll show you soon enough what a real monster looks like." His words sent the Great Merchant Guild into a fury. They charged at him together, while in the shadows, Hong Yan lowered her hands, a twisted, demonic face emerging at last.